Am I the asshole? For calling security on strangers using the gated community's pool and amenities? Never thought I'd sound so much like a Karen, but it's a lot more complicated than that. I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in a community of about 40 homes and it's fully gated, so after some time you really get to know who lives in what house and who they typically have over as guests. Also, if you know anything about FL, this is the time of year many tourists flock to the area for warm weather. In our community, there's also a small rec center for families and has a gym and outdoor games hangout pool area that's paid for with residents' monthly HOA fees. My house is also directly next to the rec center, so my backyard is essentially attached to it and I can see everyone who uses the pool area. In the last 2 months, I've noticed huge groups of strangers and families show up for hours on the weekends to use the space. Music absolutely blaring until 1-2 a.m., screaming kids everywhere, and they'll just ruin the space by leaving their trash hanging around and not cleaning up after themselves. I haven't done or said anything to the guests directly, but last weekend was kind of my breaking point. I have a trampoline in my backyard for my kids, but kids of the random families using the pool ran into my backyard and started jumping around on the trampoline. My dog was also outside during that time and they tried to feed him chips and other snacks they had. The whole situation just made me so anxious because I didn't want my dog to get sick or have the kids soaking wet from the pool to slip and get hurt on my property and have it be tied back to me. I immediately went into the pool to try and find their parents, and when asked whose guests they were, all of them said one guy who lives down the street, Quinn 30s. After talking to him I found out he's basically been putting up ads on Facebook Marketplace where he's renting out our community rec center to random families and tourists in the area for cheap. Primarily, it's for families who are staying in nearby hotels that don't have nice amenities, and they come here instead. I thought it was absolutely absurd that he would do this with no thought for the others who live here, and let strangers in who he knows nothing about and won't even clean up after themselves. Myself and multiple other residents asked Quinn to take down his ad on Facebook and he refused, so we called the security on his guests and they were asked to all leave, and Quinn is facing huge fines from the HOA for overstepping the guest policies. He's now calling me and others an R and elitists for not wanting strangers here, and while the majority of families here are happy and side with us, there are a few who think we should have just let it be. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole. This is absurd. You talked to him. Absolutely time to take it to the next level. He's profiting and causing problems for the rest of you. That's not okay at all. He should absolutely be fined for all the cleanup and inconvenience, but also he should have in no way been making money from something that was not his to sell. I hope the fines are well in excess of anything he got. He's now calling me and others an R and elitists for not wanting strangers here. He's not doing this out of the goodness of his heart. He saw a business opportunity in renting out facilities that aren't his to make dollar. Lot of chutzpah there, guy. Not the asshole. BTW, how much was he charging? Quinn is facing huge fines from the HOA for overstepping the guest policies. Good, not the asshole op. You handled that properly. Found out who was doing it, asked them to stop on their own, and then got the HOA involved. Not the asshole. Quinn is upset because you closed down his side business selling access to a scarce shared resource that wasn't his to sell. It's not elitist to not want loud tourists partying in your backyard until late. It's not elitist to not want to share the pool that you pay for with thousands of people who don't pay for it. Not the asshole. Your HOA dues are paying for the upkeep and maintenance of the pool, as calculated based on normal usage by your gated community. Your HOA dues are paying for the liability insurance required by having the pool, as calculated based on normal usage by your gated community. In particular, the liability insurance is something that could be totally screwed over by what he has done here, resulting in either massively increased costs or possibly the inability to get new insurance if your insurance company cancels on you due to this. And then everybody loses the pool. not the asshole. Unless Quinn wants to pay everyone's HOA fees and buy a $10 million liability umbrella insurance policy to cover any accidents his guests may have, the HOA and the homeowner's on the hook for everything. Clue the few who think you did the wrong thing in on their legal